News now on Channel 3 North East from ITN with Nicholas Owen.
From the studios of ITN, the news with Nicholas Owen.
Good evening, welcome to the programme. Tonight's headlines. New Irish leader promises to do everything for Ulster peace. Neil Hamilton welcomes plans to jail corrupt MPs. And yes, eventually they did it. England's Test triumph. Bertie Ahern is to become Ireland's new Prime Minister, but only with the help of minority parties and independents. And he's already planning to hit the ground running, pledging to secure peace in Northern Ireland. Our Ireland correspondent John Irvine reports from Dublin.
As the last counts were finishing tonight, it was clear that the Irish people had, albeit narrowly, elected a new government. The next Prime Minister, Bertie Ahern, wants to see political movement in Northern Ireland. He says he will represent the interests of nationalists, but he also claims that unionists have nothing to fear.
My only concern is that I see a just settlement and a lasting settlement to the age-old difficulties of Northern Ireland. I believe that is possible if everybody gives a bit and everybody can live with the people taking a bit.
Northern nationalists have welcomed Mr Ahern's success, but the unionists are wary.
It's up to him. I'm not going to prejudge it. Obviously, one looks at the background in terms of his party, and the record of that party is not something that would give anyone encouragement. But it's up to Mr Ahern.
Mr Ahern succeeded Albert Reynolds as leader of Fianna Fáil. When Mr Reynolds was Prime Minister, he welcomed Gerry Adams to Dublin 6 days after he helped secure the IRA ceasefire that Mr Ahern now wants to help restore.
Bertie Ahern says Northern Ireland will be at the top of his agenda, and he is seeking an early meeting with Gerry Adams. But it will have to take place before the new Irish Prime Minister is officially installed on June the 26th. That's because here, as in Britain, there is currently a ban on ministerial contacts with Sinn Féin. John Irvine, ITN, Dublin.
The Home Secretary, Jack Straw, will tomorrow outline plans to send corrupt MPs to jail. Neil Hamilton, the Tory MP who lost his seat to the anti-sleaze candidate Martin Bell, told ITN he welcomes the move. Here's our political correspondent, John Draper.
The anti-corruption laws are part of Mr Blair's drive to restore respect for politics and increase public confidence in politicians following the scandals of the last Parliament. So the new laws will make it an imprisonable offence for MPs to accept bribes and for others to offer them.
I think members of Parliament should also come within the scope of the law, that anybody attempting to bribe members of Parliament should face the same penalties as if they tried to bribe any other public official.
Judges, as well as local councillors, will be covered by the same laws, which have been welcomed by the Nolan Committee. Martin Bell, who won the Tatton seat on an anti-sleaze campaign, says corruption laws are long overdue.
Up to now, MPs are beyond the reach of the criminal law for bribery in the course of their official duties. It's amazing. It was set up in the Bill of Rights in 1689. It's surely time it was changed.
The man Martin Bell defeated also welcomes the new laws, but Neil Hamilton says the media have invented sleaze and he's been a victim of it.
Insofar as members of Parliament might be put in a position where they can be accused of offences of this kind, I think it's vitally important that they get a right to a fair trial, which everybody else in the country has got.
The sleaze allegations played a large part in the Tories' defeat last month. This week, Conservative MPs will take part in the first round of voting in the election of a new leader to succeed John Major, a new leader whose first job will be to restore morale in a party that's still in a state of shock. John Draper, ITN, Westminster.
Israeli and Palestinian negotiators have met in Cairo to start a restart of stalled peace process. The issue of new Jewish settlements on the West Bank still threatens to be a major obstacle to progress. Palestinians say construction must stop before the talks can continue. A fire which destroyed a temple in southern India has left 30 people dead and dozens more injured. Most of the victims were trampled as thousands of worshippers which was started by a firecracker. And more than 1 million people gathered in the Polish city of Krakow today for an open-air mass held by the Pope. The Vatican rejected suggestions that it could be the 77-year-old pontiff's last visit to his homeland. Cricket, and England are now the bookies' favourites to win the Ashes after victory against Australia in the first test. The tourists had briefly threatened to fight back, but England wrapped it up with 9 wickets to spare. Bob Hall reports.
To have any realistic hope of a win, Australia needed to build on their overnight 256 for 1 and set England a target of at least 150. Greg Blewett's third Ashes century in a row showed the spirit they needed. His partnership with his captain Mark Taylor ended on 194 when he offered a simple chance to Robert Croft, but it meant his wife's bet that he'd score 100 was well-founded optimism. The late order collapsed, 3 wickets going down for 12 runs, to leave England needing only 118 to win. Mark Butcher was an early casualty, but England were going well thanks to Alex Stewart and Michael Atherton steering England home in some style. Another full house at Edgbaston had seen an Australian 9-wicket humiliation.
I can't do anything about how the Poms play, but they're playing reasonable cricket. So all I can do as a captain is try and get my blokes to play it better, and I know we can do that.
When we met up on Tuesday, the same old Mickey taking banter was there in the last part of the winter, and I think that's really important.
As all round celebrated, the England coach David Lloyd settled for a cup of tea. Bob Hall, ITN Sport, Edgbaston.
Football, Scotland went into today's World Cup qualifier against Belarus with an injury-hit squad and needing the 3 crucial points to keep them at the top of their group. Neil Connery reports.
Scotland started this World Cup qualifying game leading their group, but Craig Brown's team were determined not to underestimate Belarus. And they were right. Andrei Ostrovsky's early effort stretching goalkeeper Jim Leighton to the limit. A disappointing first half for Scotland, but this badly timed tackle on Darren Jackson at the start of the second offered the Scots a penalty. For captain Gary McAllister, his first international goal in 5 years. It made the journey to Minsk even more worthwhile for the Scottish fans. 3 vital points for a side struggling with injury problems. The Bravehearts' march on the road to France is still on course after their 1-0 victory. Neil Connery, ITN Sport.
And that puts Scotland 4 points clear at the top of their group with 17 points. In the Tournoi de France, Italy played Brazil tonight. A draw would have given England victory in the tournament. Highlights are on ITV after the news, so look away now if you don't want to know the score. Finally, an army team closed the book on a chapter of World War II history today when they pulled the last of 4 dam-busting bombs from the sea off the Kent coast. It took them 3 days to haul the bouncing bombs off the seabed. And when it was all over, there was only one way to celebrate. And that's it from the Weekend News team here at ITN. Good night.